The most common lie is that which one lies to himself. We all aspire to live a happy, fulfilling life. It's a universal desire that drives our actions. Yet ironically, these actions sometimes steer us in the complete opposite direction, towards unfulfilling, miserable life. This paradox of human behavior, where our choices unwittingly lead to our own suffering, was discussed by the German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche in many of his writings. Nietzsche believed that our beliefs and choices could either pave the way to a fulfilling life, or conversely, lead to a life filled with misery. So with that in mind, and based on Nietzsche's philosophy, here are 4 ways to utterly ruin and destroy the rest of your life. 1. Ignore your willpower. Imagine waking up one morning, but instead of being excited for the day, you hear an inner voice, one that many of us are familiar with, one that constantly reminds us that we're not in control, that we are forced into routines we dislike, which makes us feel more like unwilling participants in our own lives than the active drivers we wish to be. This habit of always being down on ourselves holds us back, because we start to see life as just a bunch of tasks, not choices we're excited to make. This negative mindset becomes so ingrained that we often overlook the happy moments and the good things that usually bring us joy. In these moments, what we're really doing is ignoring a fundamental part of ourselves, what Nietzsche called the will to power. It's this strong force within that yearns for achievement and growth. As Nietzsche said, the will to power is the will to life. Nietzsche argued that deep down, there's a powerful energy driving all humans to live fully, to seize each day with purpose and passion. However, when we're trapped in a cycle of self-criticism, viewing ourselves as perpetual underachievers or victims of circumstance, we're not just being hard on ourselves, we're actively suppressing our inherent drive for personal success and fulfillment. This ongoing self-doubt can manifest in tangible ways, perhaps in settling for a job that doesn't challenge us, staying in unfulfilling relationships, or shying away from creative pursuits that once sparked our imagination. And that's why Nietzsche pointed out the critical importance of acknowledging the will to power, and he saw that failing to recognize and harness this force is a direct path to a life of misery and despair, where every choice becomes a burden and every day a struggle. 2. Always care what people say. How often our decisions are swayed, not by our own desires, but by the anticipated opinions of others. Reflect on the times you've stood on the brink of a choice, only to pivot towards what is commonly accepted or expected, just because everyone else is doing it. But in these moments, have you ever asked yourself what you truly want? This dilemma has only intensified in our era of social media, where the eyes of the world seem perpetually upon us, constantly aware of being observed, judged, and scrutinized. This pattern, where we constantly seek validation and approval from others, can subtly take over our decision-making process. It's as though we're living, perpetually adjusting our actions, dreams, even our aspirations, based on how they might be perceived. Slowly, this need for external approval begins to erode our sense of self. We start to prioritize fitting in over standing out, even if it means sidelining our true desires and ambitions. And that's exactly what Nietzsche saw as the way to lose yourself. Nietzsche showed disdain for the herd mentality, and his call for individualism was a cornerstone of his philosophy. He believed that societal approval often leads us away from our authentic selves. He once said, "In individuals, insanity is rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule." This statement isn't just about the folly of group behavior, it's an observation on how the collective can smother individual thought and aspiration. In stark contrast to the herd mentality, Nietzsche introduces the concept of the Übermensch, or overman, an individual who has transcended the limitations and moralities of conventional society. This figure embodies self-mastery, creativity, and the courage to create one's own values and meaning in life. Nietzsche saw the Übermensch as a goal for humanity, a challenge for each individual to overcome their own inherent limitations and societal conditioning. It is about the realization of one's fullest potential and the assertion of one's unique existence in the world. And failure to strive towards this ideal in Nietzsche's view is to succumb to a life where true purpose and individuality remain forever out of reach. 3. Ignore personal exploration. Many of us today feel like sleepwalking through life. This often stems from a lack of clear direction. Without knowing where we're going or what we want to achieve, life can seem aimless. Students finish their studies without clear goals, and adults work for years, only to find themselves in their 30s or 40s, feeling lost and directionless. Their days, lacking a plan or purpose, turn into a series of random events, and this can happen to us simply because we don't really know who we are. Friedrich Nietzsche strongly advocated for self-discovery, urging us to explore the depth of who we are and what we can achieve. He famously stated, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." This powerful assertion implies that understanding our life's purpose equips us to face its myriad challenges with resilience. For Nietzsche, the pursuit of self-knowledge was a lifelong commitment. It transcended the mere act of setting and achieving goals. He believed in the richness of life's experiences as tools for learning and growth. Central to this belief was his concept of eternal recurrence, encapsulated in his words, "Live in such a way that you must wish to live again, for you will anyway." Nietzsche saw each life as a unique narrative, brimming with possibilities. In his view, failing to realize our full potential is akin to a half-lived life. He once said, "What does your conscience say? You should become the person you are," emphasizing the importance of exploring and actualizing our true selves. 4. Stay in your comfort zone. Life inherently comes with risks and dangers. In our modern world, many of these threats seem distant as society and civilization have evolved to prioritize safety and comfort. This evolution has subtly influenced us to shy away from risks, fostering a fear of venturing into the unknown. However, Friedrich Nietzsche argued that the surest path to a dull life is surrendering to this fear, and he proposed a counterintuitive approach, and that's embracing life's inherent risks. He famously said, "The secret for harvesting from existence the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment is to live dangerously." For Nietzsche, the essence of living dangerously lies in confronting our deepest fears and willingly accepting life's challenges. And it doesn't mean recklessly seeking danger, but rather courageously stepping beyond the familiar bounds of our comfort zones. In our daily lives, this could manifest as finally taking the leap to pursue an idea we've always dreamed of, despite the uncertainties that come with it. It might mean stepping into an uncomfortable conversation we've habitually avoided, or bravely confronting and accepting parts of ourselves we've previously run away from. It's about making choices that stir our souls and challenge our boundaries, instead of settling for the familiar paths that offer little beyond comfort and predictability. This philosophy of embracing risk is intrinsically linked to Nietzsche's concept of self-overcoming, where Nietzsche saw pain and suffering as not anomalies in our journey, but as integral chapters of our human story. Yet we spend our lives in a desperate pursuit of comfort, sidestepping pain at every turn. But this is not the way of growth. Nietzsche implores us to do the exact opposite, to lean into our discomfort. As he once wrote, "That which does not kill us makes us stronger." Nietzsche believed that tough times change us for the better. Every hard situation or uncomfortable moment is a chance to grow, leading us towards a more rewarding and satisfying life.